Well, sometimes you roll the dice and you get a little bit lucky. Sometimes you don't. I can't believe we haven't been rolling the dice more often, though, this time of year. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Nuanez Now 102.9, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. I am Coulter Nuanez. We are coming to you from Idaho Central Arena here in Boise. Appreciate you for hanging out with us. Our tournament takeover officially here. We had a full Boise heavy show yesterday. We were actually on a plane for half of it, so a lot of that was already in the can. When I say roll the dice, well, we decided to not fly out till last evening. And when I say roll the dice, I just mean that there was a chance that several, if not all, of the Montana teams, except for the Montana State women, might be out by the time we got here. I say the Montana State women just because they had the most advantageous draw, and they got it done on Sunday before we left to get into the semifinal they are playing in as we speak. But last night the Grizzmen took care of business against Northern Colorado. I didn't know if I thought that was going to happen or not, but it did. And so Montana into the semis on the men's side. They'll play this evening at 7 p.m. So we have two Montana teams left. We got lucky by the fact that I shouldn't say lucky, but fortunate the fact that the Grizz made it to tonight's semi. Unfortunate the fact that the second-seeded Montana State men lost on Sunday. And fortunate that Montana State's women continue to carry the torch for the Division I teams here in the state of Montana. So as we sit here right now, we have two teams left from Montana at the Big Sky Tournament in Boise. Montana State scratching and clawing, trying to figure out a way to hang on. Eastern Washington making it tough on them about midway through the fourth quarter, and Montana State is up 55-51. The story of this game so far, Montana State forced the turnovers like they always do. Eastern's got 21 of them. Neither one of these teams shooting very well. Eastern Washington is shooting well from inside the arc. They have not hit a three-pointer yet, though. They are 0 of 13 from beyond the arc. Montana State's women just 4 of 20, but that is the difference. They're up 4, and they've hit 4 threes, and Eastern's hit 0 threes. So that's the tale of the tape as we sit here right now. We are coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio there at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Thanks to Tommy, Hayden, and Jeff for all the engineering and production. We are coming to you on our new camera. Keaton Glogly, the voice of the Bobcats, helped me install it. He's got some fancy tape up here, so we got it right on the rail on the third floor. The court is right below me, so if you keep seeing me lean forward, it's because I'm watching the action on the near side of the court here. But appreciate those guys back at the studio for getting us on. And thanks to Grizzly Disposal for sponsoring our studio like they always do. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran owned, and the only bears that should be in your garbage. If you want to make the switch today, call 406-541-7171. That's 406-541-7171. Grizz men's basketball has been the biggest roller coaster ride this year. They've had some moments where you're thinking, wow, this team is a real deal contender. This team is, going to be an NCAA tournament repeat. They're headed back to the big dance. I thought that initially early on when they won at UNLV. Thought that was a big-time win. I thought they were the favorites to win the conference when they won at Portland State. Not so much, though, down the stretch. But last 2 weekends ago, I blasted them because they know that, first of all, they stubbed their toe and did not play well against Idaho State. They let Idaho State end a 9-game losing streak, and it was only the second time the Grizz have lost in Pocatello in 25 years. So historic. But that is what it is. It's a road trip. You stub your toe, okay. But the next night out, you got to play with some spirit. They did not do that. I thought they just no-showed against Weber State, so I ripped them on this show 2 weeks ago. Well, then they totally redeemed themselves. They swept Sac State and Portland State at home and got back on track. That was good if you are Montana. But then last Monday, again, a no-show. They get destroyed by Northern Colorado. They lose 85-57 to set up then a rematch for the Bears. Here's where it gets juicy. The Bears play at Bank of America Arena. The Grizz best player's name is Money Williams. Following Northern Colorado's 85-57 win over Montana last Monday, the Bears tweeted from their team social media account, "No money in the bank." A nice little play on words, but certainly a shot at Money Williams. Well, like they say, don't pet poke the bear. Unbelievable. Money Williams goes crazy. Sources that were on the court tell me that he went up to the officials before the game and said, hey, I'm going downhill at the hole, at the rim all night. Get your whistle ready. Well, guess what happened? Money Williams torched Northern Colorado. 40 for the money man. 18 of 19 from the free throw line. He did it all. He did it whenever he wanted. He hit his first 3 of the game. He hit his last 2 free throws of the game, and he scored 35 points in between that. Just the 4th 40-point game in the history of Big Sky Conference men's basketball tournament. And he gets the Grizz into the semifinals. Death taxes in the semis for the Grizz under Travis DeCuire. That's sort of been the story. This is the 11th tournament coach. I know he's in his 12th year, but there was the weird tournament in 2020 where he got called off. So that tournament, the Grizz never played in a game in that tournament. But in the 11 tournaments, Travis DeCuire has led the Grizz. They are into the semis for the 9th time. They're looking for their 7th championship game appearance. That will come this evening against Portland State. We'll get into that game pretty heavily in hour number 2. We'll hear from Travis DeCuire and Money Williams. We'll hear from Nate Harris, the head coach of the Lady Grizz, sort of putting a spin on the end of their season. And we also will hear from Jace Coburn, the head coach of Portland State as well. That's all here in a jam-packed hour number 2. But before then, we'll keep our regular Tuesday slate. Just wanted to get that update of what's going on in Boise out there for you. But we'll have a heavy prep spiel here in hour number 1 as the state tournaments across the state of Montana get underway with Class C starting tomorrow and then Class AA, A, and B all starting on Thursday. So that's what's coming up. You want to stream us? You always can. 1029ESPN.com. You can also always find us on the ESPN MT app, and you can also always stream us on Facebook and on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us a bunch from a production standpoint, from an analytics standpoint, and it's just a cool, just sort of new age to be able to stream live on YouTube. So please do us a favor. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, please just click subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell everybody that anybody that think it's cool that we got a 2-hour a day, 4 to 6 p.m. every single weekday, live on 1029 ESPN Radio and SWX Montana Television, but also live on YouTube. And please hit that subscribe button. Midway through the 4th quarter, Montana State clinging to it now. The Bobcats were up big in this game. Their biggest lead was 19 points, 38-19 with about 2 minutes to go in the first half. But Eastern has completely whittled that away, and it's a 55-53 game going into the final media timeout. Montana State up 2 with 4:57 to go. So as soon as this game goes final, we're sort of going to time this show around this. As soon as this game goes final, as soon as I see the winning team coming up the tunnel to go to the press conference, then we'll take a break and we'll play an interview for you from Trisha Binford. Hoping just from a pure content standpoint that Montana State holds on to win this game. But either way, her interview is just about the tournament in general. She's been in the league for 21 years, so she has some good perspective on what the field is like and what's made this field competitive. Idaho won earlier today. They won 59-51 over Sac State, so they're into the championship game. The top-seeded Vandals are, and they await the winner of this one. So that's going to be sort of the moving target here when it comes to the timing, but we will certainly, as soon as we get to this game being over, we'll give it a few minutes to breathe. We'll keep on talking. We'll take a break, come back, Coach Binford, then we'll come back again, and we'll give you a recap of what we hear at the press conference, give you a little bit of a preview of the women's championship game here in Boise. But for now, let's dive into a Prep Extra. It's probably presented by Farmers State Bank. Farmers State Bank. Make the switch to Farmers State Bank, and you instantly become a part of something bigger, something different, something more. That's because Farmers State Bank is a community bank. That means local banking, local decision-making, local support for the people, businesses, and communities that you care about. Switch to local. Switch to Farmers State Bank, your Montana bank since 1907, an equal housing lender and member FDIC. Class AA tournament starts in Billings on Thursday. Who are the main contenders? Well, you have to think on the girls' side, it's Bozeman Gallatin. They won the state championship last year with a thorough effort. Jada Davis guided the way to help them get the first state title in their school's basketball history, and they returned a whole bulk of the best players from that team, including Davis, who became the third AA player ever to go over 1,500 points in her career. They also have Ava Odegaard, who's headed to St. Mary's, so 2 Division I players is a good place to start. They're well coached. I think they have a very discerning and stoic coach in Taylor Cummings, and they've seemed like a team to beat since the very beginning of the year, and they are the only team in Class AA boys or girls basketball that is undefeated. If they are able to win 3 games, the Raptors will become the first team to repeat at the AA level since Helena High did it with a three-peat 2017 to 2019. Those Helena High teams were outstanding, featuring Jamie Pickens, who was a 3-time Gatorade Player of the Year, ended up playing her college ball, first at Montana, then at Carroll College. Those Helena teams also featured Camden Hilborn, who was a great player at Carroll as well. But it's been a little bit short of a decade since we've had a repeat champion at the AA level. Who are the top contenders in AA? Well, you have to think Big Sky, who's the top seed out of the West. They went undefeated in Western AA play. They have not only one of the best seniors in the state in Avery DeCoit, but I think she's playing the best basketball of anybody in the state right now. She leads the state in scoring at over 22 points per game. She leads the state in assists at over 5 dimes per game. She's the best on-ball defender in the conference as well. Not even in the conference, in the state of Montana. So that certainly helps buoy the Eagles as well. So you got to think Big Sky is a contender there at the AA level. You also probably think that the winner of Hellgate West is going to be another team that's going to be in the mix. Hellgate, the 3 seed out of the West, they had to win a play-in game to get to the state tournament. West, the 2 seed out of the East. West's only 2 losses were to Gallatin this year, so West has been very competitive so far this year. They have a ton of depth. They've always had a great girls basketball program. Speaking of Billings West, Courtney Grossman, a Billings West product, who plays in Eastern Washington. She hits a couple of free throws. We got a 1-point game here in Boise. Montana State up 56-55, 4:49 and ticking right now at Idaho Central Arena. Grossman's been awesome for the Eagles all season long. A second-team all-conference selection. She was on Billings West's state championship team back in 2022 as a junior, and then was a senior the following year when they played and made it to the state semis in Missoula. Other contenders at the AA level, you have to think the West Hellgate winner will be right there, and we'll see. We'll see if maybe Butte can get hot. They have a tough one against Billings Senior, but I mean, I'm not going to say it's wide open because I do think Gallatin and Big Sky are the 2 favorites with West right there, and then probably Hellgate. But these state tournaments, man, it all comes down to, can you play well your first time out? Because if you don't play well, you get dropped to the loser side of the bracket, and you have an impossible time to make it back to that state championship game. So the opening games will be pivotal. Butte plays Senior, Gallatin plays Helena, Billings West plays Hellgate, and Big Sky plays Skyview. Prep Extra, probably presented by Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise, the elite online fundraising platform. You want the biggest checks for your high school sports organization, visit Vertical Raise 406.com. Hard foul at the rim. Taylor Chirick just took it all the way to the basket. She gets clothesline. She'll head to the stripe for 2 with her team clinging to a 1-point lead. 3:58 left now on the clock. Boys AA tournament. Main storyline is, can Sentinel win it? Sentinel has had a ton of boys basketball talent over the years. Just in my time, you know, I call it my time, when I was in middle school and started paying attention to high school basketball in the late 90s, up through when I was in high school in the early 2000s, up through when I've been doing this professionally as a sports writer and broadcaster for the last 20 years. In that time, Sentinel's had some great players and some great teams. Guys like Jordan Killen Haskett, guys like Eric and Mark Hankel, guys like Andy Garland. None of those guys helped the Spartans bring home a state championship. Well, the latest guy who's a memorable figure and an all-time great at Sentinel is Lincoln Rogers. And how about that? Eastern Washington's first three-pointer of the game gives them their first lead of the game. 58-57, Montana State on the ropes here in Boise. Lincoln Rogers, though, has been the man. He leads the state in scoring. He leads the state in rebounding, leads the state in blocks, leads the state in the steals. I mean, he's a do-everything. He's a 6'9" guy with a handle who can shoot it. He can score at all 3 levels. But it's been his supporting cast that has been so pivotal. Sentinel's got 3 guys that have made 53s or more, and they're all shooting at a higher than 40% clip from beyond the arc. That is certainly a recipe to be a state title contender. When you got the dude who draws all the attention, and if he's singled up, he's cooking you. If he's not singled up, though, he is a very willing passer. When you got guys like Glidewell and O'Reilly that can stroke threes like Sentinel does, that's a pretty great place to be. Can they kick the state tournament bugaboo, though? Last time they played in the state championship was in 2024 when the state championship game was in Missoula. That was a great run. Mike Rogers was on that team. He was a key figure, but so was Grady Walker, who's now playing football for the Grizz. That team sort of came out of nowhere, though. They were a sixth-place team in the Western AA that year, but they ran all the way through to the state championship. First of all, they ran all the way through the district championship and then to the state championship and ended up losing to Bozeman Gallatin. Before that, though, it had been since 2008 that Sentinel was in the state championship game. They've been to the title game a bunch, but they have not won a state title since 1986. They won it in 1972, 1973, lost it in 76, 78, and 81, won their last state title in 1986. Then they lost again in the following state championship game in 87. They also lost in 1992, 2008, and 2024. So that's a ton of state tournament, state championship game appearances, with just the 3 state titles and none in the last 40 years. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. 2 minutes now here in Boise between second-seeded Montana State and sixth-seeded Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington's first three-pointer helped them. That was from Emily McElberry, by the way. These Montana girls are doing us so many favors. 2 Montana girls on Eastern, so this is pretty cool because we got storylines going both ways. McElberry, who, by the way, great parlay here as we're talking about Sentinel. She is a Sentinel product. She hits a three-pointer. I was looking at their team three-pointers. Gallatin also fitting. Ella Gallatin, she hits Eastern's first three-pointer to put the Eagles up 1, but then Isabel Bunyan answers on the other end. She hits Montana State's 5th three-pointer. That's her first made shot of the game. And here we are, 2:04 remaining, and it's tied 60-60. Let's keep on rolling to the Prep X Show. See if we can do 2 things at once. Covering this game and covering high school hoops here on Nuanez Now. Class A girls tournament starts in Great Falls on Thursday. Favorites on the girls' side has to be Billings Central. They're the 2-time defending state champs. They're the number 1 team in the state. They are stacked from top to bottom. Future Lady Grizz, Cameron Reinkar, is a really strong player. Annika Sturgar is a great talent as well. They have a great coach in Jatan Ailes, and they look like the team to beat. That said, I think that's going to be a wild tournament. I think that's going to be a wide-open tournament as well. Havre has always been very good. They have great girls basketball tradition. They always show up this time of year. Hardin is very good this year. Frenchtown is very good this year. So I think that there's a lot of contenders when it comes to that Class A girls tournament. On the boys' side, by the way, Eastern Washington hits. They're finding the mark now here from beyond the arc. Katie Gringas hits her first three-pointer of the game. Eastern Washington up 63-60. 1 minute, 42 seconds left against Montana State. So now, does the pucker factor enter for Montana State? Can they come back and win this game? Certainly, we shall see. We have to expect Hardin, Frenchtown, Havre, they're all going to be there on the girls' side, but certainly because of their state tournament experience and their depth and just their overall talent on their roster, they have to think Billings Central a threat to three-peat. As Addison Harris goes up and under, she gets the bucket. Montana State down 1, 1:25 to go. Class A boys, again, Billings Central, the favorites. Billings Central is basically the favorite in every Class A sport right now, no matter what it is. They won 9 state championships last year in everything from football to baseball to girls basketball to swimming on the boys and the girls side. They've been unbelievable. And they look like the favorite on the boys' side again. But Lockwood's going to have something to say about that, I think. Lockwood, certainly the upstart in Class A. I wouldn't be surprised if that high school grows to be a AA high school sooner than later. But certainly the Lions, sort of the newcomer on the block, they get this Class A state tournament in Great Falls started 9 a.m. on Thursday against Ronan. Then Billings Central will play Butte Central. Butte Central licking their wounds a little bit. They went in as the number 3 team in the state last week to divisionals, but they lost in the divisional championship game. So they're coming off a loss. How can they refine momentum? Central versus Central should be a good one. Glendive and Frenchtown play at 3:30, and Dillon and Miles City play at 5. In Class A girls basketball, Frenchtown and Hardin, that's a dynamite. I mean, that's two of the top 4 ranked teams in the state. That's at noon. Billings Central gets their title defense underway against Big Fork at 1:30. Havre takes on Whitefish, and Dillon, that's at 6:30, and Dillon takes on Laurel at 8 p.m. from the Electric City. 1 minute and 1 second here in Boise from Idaho Central Arena, and a timeout. Jody Gleason takes one, Eastern Washington's head coach. Her team clinging to a 63-62 lead. What a great effort by the Eagles. And can Montana State find one more stop to find a way to overcome this upset bid from the 6th-ranked Eagles from Cheney, Washington. Class B, Lodgegrass boys remain undefeated. They are 23-0 going to the state tournament. They are definitely the favorite. In terms of the main contenders, I think that's actually probably the most wide open of any of these 8 different brackets. Anaconda boys, red hot after they won the divisional tournament and beat Loyola in the divisional tournament game. They could be a contender. Fairfield, they get Lodgegrass in the first round, even though I think those are probably 2 of, if not the 2 best teams in the state. So can Fairfield pull the upset? Fairfield lost in the divisional championship game, which was why they get dropped down to that next tier and have to play Lodgegrass. Harlem's, who beat Fairfield, so Harlem's red hot coming into the Class B boys tournament. They have to play St. Lebré. So here's your matchup. Let's go through the matchups quickly. Anaconda Shepherd, Lodgegrass versus Fairfield, Harlem versus St. Lebré, Three Forks versus Missoula Loyola. That's in boys basketball. Class B girls, Baker is the favorite, but they're not as overwhelming as maybe I think Lodgegrass is on the boys side. Baker's undefeated, but they should have strong resistance from their first round opponent, who's Glasgow. Probably Florence Carlton, who's projected to be the favorite against Huntley Project, but that's probably going to be your semifinal matchup, Baker and Florence. Malta Big Timber is the 3rd game of the tournament, and then Ennis versus Missoula Loyola. But if I'm handicapping Class B, we're talking Malta. Baker's the favorite. Florence Carlton, Missoula Loyola, Glasgow, all right there in the mix. Can Baker do it? Can they finish the deal? They made it to the state tournament championship last year in Missoula, but they lost to Paige Loafing and the Huntley Project Red Devils. So redemption on the line. But Class B girls basketball, as we've talked about all year, several of the best players in the state, including maybe the 2 best players in the state in Madison O'Connor from Baker and Spencer Laird, who's Madison O'Connor bound for Montana State, and Spencer Laird, who is bound for Stanford. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Prep Extra, presented by Farmers State Bank. Make the switch to Farmers State Bank and you instantly become part of something bigger, something different, something more. That's because Farmers State Bank is a community bank. That means local banking, local decision making, local support for people, businesses, and communities you care about. Switch to local, switch to Farmers State Bank. Your Montana bank since 1907, an equal housing lender, member FDIC. Instead of talking about 2 things at once, we're just going to keep it right here. Montana State inbounds the ball, a minute to go. They're down 3, 65-62. I'm not allowed to do play-by-play, so I'll keep you in the loop of what's going on here. But Terry Chirick takes it to the hole. Appears to get fouled, does not get fouled. She misses the layup. And then Montana State forces a turnover. Not sure what that call is there on the baseline. But this is certainly getting juicy here. In Boise, Idaho. Upset if Montana State's women lose this game. But coming out of last year when they won 30 games, then they had 8 players depart their roster either from graduation or the transfer portal. You had to wonder like where they were going to be at with a roster without a senior. Well, Jameson Phillip has been a revelation as a freshman point guard. Taylor Chiric, her progression from spark plug off the bench to the biggest game record maybe in the country and the Big Sky Conference MVP. Those things, and Addison Harris's evolution from a bench player to a first team all-conference type of talent. Those three things were three of the most pivotal factors for Montana State. They certainly were able to not even skip a beat. I mean, when you win 30 games last year, that's the most in the history of the conference. Replicating that is dang near impossible, right? But to be able to lose Esmeralda Morales, the MVP of the league, to graduation, lose Mara Dykstra as a transfer to Michigan State, lose Natalie Picton as a transfer to Sac State, and then to replace those with either internal, with Chiric and Harris and Ella Johnson and Isabel Bunyan, all those players getting better, and then to also add Jameson Phillip, a true freshman, and have the full-on confidence to have her be a 30-plus minute per game point guard. Great job by Tricia Binford and her staff. But if I was to tell you last year, coming out of the NCAA tournament, that Montana State would be in the semis, they'd be battling it out with Eastern Washington, without a senior on your roster, you probably would have taken that. But this turns into a giant upset because of what Montana State became so quickly. They're a 25 or 20, I guess 24-win team coming into this game. They went 16-2 in conference play. Their defense was as big of a wrecking ball as we've seen the last couple of years. They forced 26 turnovers a game. Chiric has been a revelation, leading the country in steals. She set the Big Sky record for single-season steals. So all of that is just a testament to how good Montana State has become, which then makes this, if Eastern Washington, the 6th seed, ousts the Bobcats, it makes it into a huge upset. Eastern just drained about 12 seconds off the clock. By the way, Montana State was able to score Isabel Bunyan a bucket to cut it to 65-64. And Montana State trying to claw their way back. But Eastern Washington, a 1-point lead with a shooter going to the free throw line. So we're just going to keep on keeping it here. First one's good. 2-point lead for Eastern. Both free throws good. Montana State down 3 with 19 seconds to go. This is where the new rules in women's basketball help you. It's like the NBA. You can advance the ball with the timeout in the second half. In men's basketball, you wouldn't be able to advance it. That's one of the rule changes I wish we could see. If I'm king of the world for the day, I know everybody loves men. I don't know about everybody, but I know a lot of people love men's college basketball. They can make it significantly better by 3 things. Moving to quarters. The only level of basketball on the earth that plays halves now is men's college basketball. Everybody else, high school, girls and boys, college girls, professional, overseas, NBA, international, European League, everybody plays quarters. You have to move to quarters because it resets the fouls. It makes the flow of the game go so much better. That's the number 1 change I'd make. Number 2, NBA rules, pro rules, let the ball be advanced to half court in these late game situations. Instead of having to inbounds the ball, you can have so many more late game scenarios that are so much more entertaining that open up the flow of the game. Those are the 2 rule changes I'd make. Then the third one I'd make would have to do with the transferring. I think you got to go back to having a penalty for transferring. I also put in a rule where you have to be at a school for 3 semesters before you can transfer, particularly if you are an underclassman. If you're an upperclassman, maybe you have a little bit more leeway, but if you are an underclassman, you got to stay at that respective school that you committed to for at least 3 semesters. Those are the changes I would make. So here we go, Montana State with an inbounds pass. Again, I'm not allowed to do play-by-play, so I'll try to do commentary as this game comes down to the wire. Jameson Phillip to the rack. She gets it. 1-point game, 14 seconds left. Anybody having fun yet? Nuanez Now live from Idaho Central Arena. Can't say enough about Phillip. But at some point, we just have to realize this is just going to be the way of the world with Tricia Binford, right? Like when I first moved back to Montana in 2010, Tricia Binford had a great point guard named Erica Perry. Well, she then replaced her with Katie Bussey, and then she replaced Katie Bussey with Hannah Cottle, and then Hannah Cottle gave way to Darian White. and Darian White gave way to Esmeralda Morales, and now Esmeralda Morales gave way to Jameson Phillip. What do they all have in common? They all were breakout players that could definitely handle it and contribute as freshmen, and then all those players transformed into first-team all-conference type players their sophomore years. So I think the future is certainly bright for Jameson Phillip, a Ellensburg, Washington product who's been great at point guard for Montana State. Eastern Washington now looking to inbound, off-ball foul before the ball is even inbounded. Speaking of really intriguing freshmen, I know if you listen to the Chris Redpath show or you've listened to Chris Redpath on this show, Elin Bowers is an awesome player as a freshman. She's from a tiny little town in Wyoming, Pinedale, Wyoming, that is. But she's been great for Eastern, and she's been great in this game. She cashes in on her first free throw. She's up to 21 points. Eastern Washington's lead 68-66 with Montana State trying to find a way to stay alive. Bowers hits the second. She's got 22. Cats are down 3. We haven't had much of a chance to recap what happened on Sunday. We did a little bit yesterday. But when it comes to the Lady Grizz, we will hear the post game from Nate Harris, just a couple minutes of that post game. I know that it's so easy to be prisoner of the moment. And the Lady Grizz won 9 games. That's only the second single-digit win total season the program's had in 50 years. So that's not good. There's no other way to splice it. But it's easy to be prisoner of the moment and say, well, this is on Nate Harris. What was that hire? Why did Kent Haslam hire that guy? Well, first of all, with the way that the Lady Grizz finished the year last year through a really weird and tumultuous situation with Brian Holsinger getting dismissed, then the run to the tournament championship game, it's almost like you had to. And I just think that this year being a 9-win team, that's a culmination of all of the bad things that have happened to Montana women's basketball and just in general. And we'll see. They just got to have a new chapter. Meanwhile, heave in a prayer. Unbelievable. How many freshmen are balling out right now? Brianne Bailey, a freshman from Montana State who comes off the bench from another tiny town, St. Anthony, Idaho. She heaves a 25-footer, nothing but nylon to tie the game. Then there's a kerfuffle at the middle of the court, and somehow Montana State comes up with possession. Now Taylor Chirick to the rim, no call, overtime. Holy cow. So I wanted to get to the end of this game before we hear from Trisha Binford, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break here on Nuanez Now. We'll come back. We will hear from Coach Binford while the overtime here is playing out in Boise, and then we'll have a full recap of this game for you. A thriller between Montana State and Eastern Washington. It is our tournament takeover here on Nuanez Now. It's proudly presented in part by Stockman Bank of Montana. Stockman Bank invites you to experience the Stockman difference as a family-owned community bank with locations throughout Montana. Stockman Bank, committed to enriching the lives of Montanans and helping communities succeed. What that means to you is your money stays in the local economy, supporting your friends and your neighbors. Let Stockman Bank show you Montana's brand of banking. Overtime from Idaho Central Arena. We'll take a break, come back and hear from the head coach of the Montana State Bobcats and give you the results for her team on the other side. Don't change that dial, keep it right here on 109 ESPN Radio.
Spartan's Tuning is Missoula's most trusted truck and auto repair shop, servicing foreign and domestic makes and models. But that's not all. Spartan's Tuning is equipped with cutting-edge ADAS calibration technology, making sure your car's advanced driver assist systems like lane assist and automatic braking are in top shape. And with AAA approval, Spartan Tuning is Missoula's most go-to shop for quality, reliable service you can trust. Visit SpartansTuning.com for more info or call 406-728-4081.
If you're in search of a trading card of your favorite player, or if your kids are, swing into Zootown Sports Cards. If there's a card of a player you're searching for, Zootown Sports Cards has the cards. With an almost endless collection of singles and inserts, whatever and whoever you're in the market for, Zootown Sports Cards has it. 1990s NBA stars, Zootown has it. 2000s football players, Zootown has it. And looking through the collection is half of the fun. Come check out all of what Zootown Sports Cards has to offer in the Stevens Center in Missoula.
Bees buzzing, flowers blooming, snow melting, and spring cleaning or updating? Liberty Electric is here for any and all of your electrical needs, no matter the season. Whether you're looking to upgrade your air conditioner for the summer, invest in a backup generator for those powerless nights due to storms, or need that lighting upgraded to LED, the professionals at Liberty Electric are ready to offer their services. Call 406-541-WIRE. That's 406-541-9473.
Are you a sports fan who loves to win? Get in on the action with Sportsbet Montana. Bet on collegiate and professional baseball, football, hockey, basketball, and more, all while keeping the money right here in Montana. It's easy and secure on our kiosks and mobile app. Head to your favorite Sportsbet Montana retail location to catch the game, place your bets, and celebrate your wins. Sportsbet Montana. Learn more at sportsbetmontana.com.
The Press Box is the place to watch all your favorite sports. In the heart of Grizz Country, Press Box has great food and drinks with happy hour and lunch specials every weekday. Don't forget, Press Box has the best happy hour deal in town, Monday through Friday, between 4 and 6, $3 draft beers. That's right, any draft beer at the Press Box, from domestic light beers to IPAs to everything in between. $3 drafts between 4 and 6, Monday through Friday at the Press Box. Press Box also has 2 sports bet machines, so you can always get your bets in before the game starts. The Press Box on Broadway and Van Buren in Missoula.
Frame of Mind warmly invites you to their March art exhibition, Friday the 13th from 5:30 to 8, featuring inspiring work by talented local artists. This month's show is especially meaningful, highlighting artists who live with disabilities and channel their unique experiences and creativity into powerful pieces. Join Frame of Mind to celebrate these extraordinary artists. Together, let's honor their creativity, amplify their voices, and champion inclusion in every corner of community life. Details at frameofmindmt.com.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Money cashed in on Monday night in Boise. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. A week ago, Northern Colorado dismantled Montana, winning 85-57 to set up a rematch in the second round of the Big Sky Conference men's basketball tournament. Following the game, the Bears' social media account tweeted, "No money in the bank," referring to the fact that UNC plays its home games at Bank of America Arena. As they say, don't poke the bear. Money Williams, Montana's unanimous first-team All-Big Sky combo guard, hit his first three-pointer of the game and went to the stratosphere from there. He relentlessly attacked the basket, scoring at will to lead the University of Montana to a 95-89 win over UNC. Williams finished with 40 points, the fourth most in the history of the Big Sky Tournament, and the second most in a tournament game ever by a Grizz. The single-game postseason record still belongs to Anthony Johnson, who poured in 42 points and an ESPY-winning performance to defeat Weber State in the Big Sky title game in 2010. William now has 648 points this season, the third most in school history. He is up to 1,270 for his career, the 17th most by a Grizz, despite missing the second half of his first season at Montana. The Grizz advanced to the semifinals of the Big Sky Tournament for the 9th time in 11 Big Sky tournaments under 12th-year head coach Travis DeCure. Montana takes on top-seeded Portland State at 7 p.m. tonight. The Grizz swept the Vikings during the regular season, including posting a 74-68 win over PSU in Missoula a little over a week ago in the home finale for Montana.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Did you know that Dazed and Confused, Led Zeppelin, is actually a cover? Crazy story about that, but we don't have any time for that because we got an absolute instant classic rolling right now in Boise. So here's the scenario. Montana State was up as many as 19 points. Eastern Washington erased all that. Then Eastern was up basically the duration of the fourth quarter. Montana State nip and tuck. They're playing foul for foul, foul for foul. Breanne Bailey, a freshman for MSU, hits a prayer nothing but net. Then a whole scuffle breaks out, and it looked like Eastern Washington first got fouled, but then it looked like a jump ball, and somehow it gets called jump, and Montana State gets possession. They can't convert as the clock winds down. So now here we are in overtime. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Eastern Washington and Montana State in the semifinal of the Big Sky Tournament, tied at 74-74. Here's what we're going to do in the name of staying on time here. Let's hear from Montana State's head coach, Trish Binford, because her team, she hasn't won or lost yet, but this interview recorded earlier this week just about the state of affairs in the Big Sky Conference. We'll give you a final as soon as we can. Right now, coming your way, tournament takeover. Trish Binford here on Nuanez Now.
Checking in now with Montana State women's basketball. Trish Binford joining us here as we are live from Boise, Idaho at the Big Sky Tournament. Coach Ben, thanks for being here. How you doing?
It's great to be here. I'm doing great. Thanks, Coulter.
Fun for you to have sort of a return to a second home every time you come back to Boise. I know we talk about it each year, but you spent a lot of time in Boise in your younger years, so now that the tournament has been here for a while, what's the experience been like just getting back to Boise each year and getting to sort of see some of your old stomping grounds?
It's been great. This year we're going to get dinner over at Mike Doherty's house Friday night, so we're excited about dinner. And it's just it's nice to see some old places, but it's certainly grown since I've been there.
Grown a tremendous amount. There's no question about it. In the note of growth, how have you seen the league grow and change over the years? Because it's certainly, there's so many different moving parts now, and it's made for such an exciting conference, weekend in and weekend out. How have you seen it change and sort of transform over these last however many years?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, it's hard to know, okay, which teams are still in the conference, right? So, first of all, I love that the conference is getting a lot of attention. We have two teams in the mid-major polls right now out of the conference. Last year we did as well. So us and NAU last year, this year us in Idaho. I think the conference is really getting great representation. You've got some net ratings and RPI ratings that are really, really strong. Our conference continues to do very well in the preseason across the board. So I love that about our conference. And it's, you just want to continue having the conference grow in that way. So it'll look a little bit different next year. But our job is to make sure we put the best teams forward that we can possible.
Well, you mentioned there's been a couple of years where there's been mid-major reputable teams, teams in the top 25. Your team has been in that space, several different times over the last handful of years. Last couple, it's been NAU next to you, and now it's Idaho. What have you thought of just the rise of the Vandals? Because they've had such a great program, but with a lot of transition. How would you just describe the way that they've been able to sort of ascend back into the ranks of the elite in the Big Sky?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you start with recruiting, right? So they've brought some really good pieces in to complement what they had returning, and just done a great job. And they've got a lot of mismatch problems, and they've been very consistent about who they are. They had done very well in the preseason, so I think that showed a lot. And when you see those things happening and you get some continuity, I think that makes a big impact.
Well, watching you guys play them is so fun because you guys have such a defensive-oriented style and, press so much. And they just like to boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool contrasting of styles. What are the challenges when you are preparing it for a team like Idaho, though, just anytime you play them?
Well, scoring weapons, right? So, the way we play and the style that we play, we're going to play 94 feet, but that also stretches the floor. And you got a lot of different scorers that are very dynamic. You've got Kier Gardner, that's very athletic. You've got Hope. Hope really is super attack oriented and aggressive. And then they have very, very good post play. So I just think there's a lot of balance that Idaho has that you really can't just hone on one kid. I think you have to just be solid across the board.
And the league was interesting, too, because there's been several different, 2 years in a row now where there's been a lot of turnover of the coaching staffs. Now there's a couple new coaches in the league. What have you thought of just the way that those coaches performed and sort of the way that they sort of put their stamps on their programs here?
Well, yeah, I think they're doing a great job of establishing their identity about who they're going to be. If you look at just the recent success as well, I think Portland State's done a great job as growing along the season as they've gone. And so Carly's done a great job. But then Lori, I'm like, you've got, Laura's got just one of the best scorers in the conference, and that's a very young scorer. So, the growth in the future for that program is very exciting for their program. So once again, it's about everybody making sure we continue to get better because the league's continuing to get better.
Mr. Bedford here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. How about your team? I've loved sort of the message you've purveyed in the post games in the second half of the year here. Is you love that you're getting it done and winning games, but still you think there's still a lot of room to grow, and I think that's a good thing for a young team. So where have you seen your team grow, but also where do you want to see them grow moving forward here? Because it seems like they still have a long ways just in terms of reaching their full potential.
Well, yeah, early on in the preseason, you're looking at a really tough schedule for a very young team, and I thought they handled it very well. But everything was 100 miles an hour. So this was a team that was a team full of Porsche drivers. And as we've gotten into the conference and you start figuring each other out, there's more to the game as far as like time and score management, some tight situation management. I think that's the area that they've taken some great strides. We've been in a lot of close games. We've been coming from behind. We've had leads, and how do you manage those things, what you're looking for. We've had some changing defenses. How do we grow on what's our, a way of counterattacking those things? It's just been fun to see how hungry this team is. They're constantly in here for film with all the position coaches and asking multiple questions. I'm like, they're always in the gym. This is since June. This has been a team we've had to keep a close eye on as far as we might have to get them out of the gym so they don't overtrain and they have the endurance for a long season.
Well, it seems like they love being around each other too, right? I mean,
they sure do.
It's a really fun group to be around. So how much do you think that just contributes to sort of the cumulative desire to want to grow?
I start with my coaching staff. I always want to hire coaches that you're excited to see in January and February, because that's when it becomes a grind. And that's really where championship teams will start separating themselves, where they're still hungry to be on the court doing the drill for the 1,000th time. And then you take that into your teammates, and it's the same thing. I'm like, when teams are excited to see each other in the locker room after traveling with each other, being in hotel rooms with each other, I'm like, when you want to win more for the person next to you than you do for yourself, I think you got a good thing going.
You can definitely tell that coming through with this team for sure. How about just the leadership? Because obviously you lost some key leaders from last year's team. How have you thought that sort of restructured itself? Because it seems like it's gone pretty naturally. Who have you seen rise up, and what have you thought is the way that hierarchy has sort of fallen into place?
Well, yeah, I think that's another area that I think we have progressed and grown as the season's gone. Because initially you're going to look at Taylor, you're going to look at Addie. Those are two impactful kids that we're going to be picking up a lot of the scoring load, and they're a relentless standard, right? So you always know when those two step on the floor, they're setting the tone as far as this is how we're going to compete. But then our junior class has really risen to the occasion as far as like their experience and wisdom of huddles of, hey, let's correct this, let's move on from this. These are, this is our absolute. So I think their voices have been empowered even more as we've gone as well. And then you've got this fearless freshman class that, like a Jameson Phillip that has been in the point guard role since day one. She's kind of leaned on your Taylors and of the world as far as like just the example piece. But I think the upperclassmen have really empowered our freshmen to have a voice in this program too. So it's been really fun to see it develop.
Well, now you're going to have a sit down for our feature on Taylor Chirk. I wanted to just get one thought from you just on her tie in the single season record in Big Sky Conference history and Montana State history for that matter with her steals on Saturday, just the impact she's had on your defense.
I mean, our defense is what it is because of Taylor Chirk's impact. We don't increase our pressing situations like we did last year without seeing what Taylor brought to the table. We had to add in an element to bring out the gifts and maximize what she brings to the table. She's truly special at what she does, and I can't believe she's done that as a sophomore of what is in the future in store, and she's still not done yet.
She's so fun to watch in so many different ways, but lately I've just been watching the way she watches the ball. She never takes her eye off it. It's actually unbelievable. I've never seen a basketball player like that. How much do you think sort of that focus helps her thrive at what her skill set is?
I mean, 100%, Coulter. I'm like, you look at the elite athletes, there's maybe 2 or 3 things that get to go through their mind and nothing more. right? It's you minimize the things that can get in the way. Eliminate the distraction. She focuses probably on 3 things, and her instincts follow. I'm like, she reads things a second before anybody else does.
Yeah, it's crazy. The instinct is the right word, right? It's like it comes naturally to her. It's almost like she's like hunting the basketball, right? It's amazing.
She is, yeah. I mean, I think that was probably something instilled in her when she was super young. But I think the cross country training, I think the track training, I think all those things have really paid dividends for her as far as like her motor and her endurance and her athleticism. I'm like, all those things carry into her being able to do that over and over again.
Trisha Bedford joining us, Montana State head women's basketball coach. So for your team, what's it going to take for you guys to make a run in Boise?
I think we need to focus on being true to who we are. We need to be 9 out of 10 of our habits. We need to be relentless on that and just focus going 1-0.
Cold weather cravings? The Montana Club has got you covered with scratch-made comfort food to match every craving. From perfectly grilled steaks to satisfying salads, they're ready to handle your hunger. So grab a table with a reservation or keep it casual and order delivery straight to your door. Great food made easy. Visit MontanaClub.com to order or reserve and come warm up at your Montana Club. Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Calling all runners, joggers, and walkers. Start your race season off with the 54th annual YMCA Riverbank Run on Saturday, April 25th. Wind your way through downtown Missoula and the beautiful UM campus with the 1 mile, 5K, 10K, or trifecta. There's a race for everyone, and you support the Missoula Y. The Riverbank Run is sponsored by Providence and benefits the Missoula YMCA. The YMCA Riverbank Run, Saturday, April 25th. Sign up today at riverbankrun.org.
Are you paying too much for your trash removal? If you're paying over $34 per month for trash and over $25 per month for recycling, you are paying too much. Grizzly Disposal offers reliable and affordable trash and recycling collection with the best customer service in town. It's easy to change. Just call 406-541-7171 or visit grizzlydisposal.com. Right now, when everything is overpriced, trash and recycling shouldn't be. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage and recycling.
Missoula, the best in college hoops, descends upon the press box Thursday, March 19th, with Blackfoot Communications hosting a watch party for America's favorite tournament. Big screens, big games, wall-to-wall basketball. Blackfoot Communications is your local provider of voice, internet, and managed services, proudly serving Missoula businesses every day. Join us at the press box on March 19th. To learn more about Blackfoot services, visit blackfoot.com.
It's tournament time. Buzzer beaters, underdog stories, and the best deals at Bob Ward's. Get off the couch and into the game at Montana's oldest sporting goods retailer. Baseball gloves, bats and cleats, soccer balls, shin guards, and training gear. Whether you're cutting down nets or cutting across the outfield, Bob Ward's has the gear you need. Discounts on top name brands across every department. Savings in camping, fishing, and everything outdoors. Don't miss your shot. Shop Bob Ward's, sports and outdoors, Montana style.
Hello, Montana businesses. Have you filed your 2026 annual report? The Secretary of State's office is dedicated to supporting every business that calls Montana home, and the Secretary of State has proudly waived the annual report filing fee once again. Visit biz.sosmt.gov and file your annual report by April 15th, and the fee will automatically be waived. Thanks for your partnership in building a stronger Montana. This message sponsored by Montana Secretary of State's office in cooperation with the Montana Broadcasters Association.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Don't even know why I try to plan ahead on these live radio shows. Had a Trisha Bidford interview in the can for you because I thought that's when the game would be finished. We could play that for you, and then we'd have the stretch run of this game coming down the pipe. But instead, the game goes to overtime, and you heard from Coach Ben, her team moving on after a thrilling 79-77 victory in OT over Eastern Washington. Montana State into the championship game yet again here in Boise, Idaho. Welcome back. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app coming to you live from Idaho Central Arena here in downtown Boise. What to say about that game? Montana State was in full control. They were dominating. Eastern Washington couldn't find the mark from three whatsoever. Montana State led 38-19 late in the first half. Then Eastern started chipping away. And it gets to be a 1 or 2 possession game in the fourth quarter. Then Eastern swings the momentum, and they hit a couple threes to get back on track. Then they are the ones that are in control. It looks like Montana State's season is going to end in disappointment. Montana State's in the foul, hope they miss one, shoot threes mode, but then they hit a couple threes, including a prayer from Breanne Bailey with about 10 seconds to play, and that then helps Montana State tie the game. After what is going to be deemed in retrospect a controversial call and no call towards midcourt, Eastern looked like they got fouled. Instead, it was a jump ball. That gave Montana State possession. Montana State could not convert in the last seconds of regulation, but they then, in overtime, take control again. An offensive rebound by Taylor Chirick that led to a couple free throws proved to be big. I thought just the ability to guard a little bit better down the stretch proved to be big. Montana State did not hit a shot in the last 3.5 minutes of OT, but they did salt it away at the free throw line. And at the end of the day, a win is a win. I'm not sure the Cats deserved to win that one the way that they played, but how can you say they didn't? Because they win in overtime, 79-77. Montana State's women move into the championship game. They will take on Idaho at 3 p.m. tomorrow here from Idaho Central Arena. That's the matchup. Very many we're looking forward to. The Vandals and the Bobcats split during the regular season. Idaho only lost one regular season game all year long, but it was a 99-66 decision in Bozeman. Montana State ran them out of the gym. But then in the rematch in Moscow, the game went to overtime, and Idaho was able to outlast Montana State 79-73. That was one of only 2 conference losses for the Bobcats. So just 3 total conference losses for these 2 teams. But now here they are. They get a chance to square off for a rubber match for all the marbles with an NCAA tournament bid on the line. We're going to take another break. I'm going to run down to the press conference, see what we can get from Montana State. We'll come back at the top of the hour. Jeff Safford will sit with you for a brief minute. In hour number 2, we're going to hear from Travis DeCure and Money Williams talking all things Grizz. We'll give you some more thoughts on this game here, too, as we have our championship game on the women's side set. We will also hear from Nate Harris to recap the Lady Grizz season. We also have our latest Treasure State stars, giving some of the best individual performances from the divisional tournaments last week as many teams punched tickets to the state tournaments. And we'll also hear from Jace Coburn, head coach of Portland State. His squad plays Montana in the semifinals of the men's tournament. That one tipping off in a little bit more than 2 hours, 7 p.m. That one scheduled to tip. So a jam-packed hour number 2 coming at you. Don't change that dial. Tournament takeover. You having any fun yet? On the other side, hour number 2, Nuanez Now coming your way, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
When it comes to your car, don't settle for just any shop. Trust the experts at Spartans Tuning in Missoula. Got a European car like a BMW, Audi, Porsche, or Volkswagen? Spartans Tuning has the expertise to service and repair the cars most shops won't. And if you're a Subaru owner, you're in luck. Spartans Tuning is home to Missoula's most trusted Subaru mechanic, Rico. With over 30 years of experience, Rico is the preferred choice for Subaru repairs in the area. Spartans Tuning, Missoula's AAA approved shop. For more information, visit spartanstuning.com.
Black Mountain Lawn and Landscaping offers comprehensive yard care services including lawn mowing, planting, irrigation, landscaping, waterfalls, and hardscaping with a focus on paver patios. Black Mountain Lawn and Landscaping offers customized lawn care programs to revitalize and rejuvenate your lawn to get your landscape beds and gardens ready for the season. Free estimates on sprinkler systems and lawn mowing and yard care services. Visit blackmountainlandscaping.com, call 406-529-0793, or email dave@blackmountainlawns.com.
Bees
Bees buzzing, flowers blooming, snow melting, and spring cleaning or updating? Liberty Electric is here for any and all of your electrical needs, no matter the season. Whether you're looking to upgrade your air conditioner for the summer, invest in a backup generator for those powerless nights due to storms, or need that lighting upgraded to LED, the professionals at Liberty Electric are ready to offer their services. Call 406-541-WIRE. That's 406-541-9473.
If you're in search of a trading card of your favorite player, or if your kids are, swing into Zootown Sports Cards. If there's a card of a player you're searching for, Zootown Sports Cards has the cards. With an almost endless collection of singles and inserts, whatever and whoever you're in the market for, Zootown Sports Cards has it. 1990s NBA stars, Zootown has it. 2000s football players, Zootown has it. And looking through the collection is half of the fun. Come check out all of what Zootown Sports Cards has to offer in the Stevens Center in Missoula.
Red's Bar is a beloved institution in downtown Missoula. Whether you want to watch a game, enjoy a cold beer, spend time with friendly faces, or simply wind down, the welcoming atmosphere and wonderful staff at Red's will make you feel right at home. Red's features 14 HD TVs and 2 full-service bars. Stop by and grab a beer with friends while you watch your favorite team play and check out the extensive collection of awesome sports memorabilia. Red's Bar in downtown Missoula, the friendliest sports bar in town.
You might be thinking, what's the big deal about a kids menu? Well, once you have kids, you know. It seems like it's getting harder and harder to find kid-friendly meals at affordable prices. At Paradise Falls, the kids menu is not only diverse, it's a total steal. For some of the cheapest prices in town, you can get hamburgers, mac and cheese, and other kid favorites for super low prices. Paradise Falls is a family-friendly restaurant open 7 days a week. Come enjoy a meal with your kiddos in Paradise at Paradise Falls, 3621 Brook Street, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Money cashed in on Monday night in Boise. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. A week ago, Northern Colorado dismantled Montana, winning 85-57 to set up a rematch in the second round of the Big Sky Conference men's basketball tournament. Following the game, the Bears' social media account tweeted, "No money in the bank," referring to the fact that UNC plays its home games at Bank of America Arena. As they say, don't poke the bear. Money Williams, Montana's unanimous first-team All-Big Sky combo guard, hit his first three-pointer of the game and went to the stratosphere from there. He relentlessly attacked the basket, scoring at will to lead the University of Montana to a 95-89 win over UNC. Williams finished with 40 points, the fourth most in the history of the Big Sky tournament, and the second most in a tournament game ever by a Grizz. The single-game postseason record still belongs to Anthony Johnson, who poured in 42 points and an ESPY-winning performance to defeat Weber State in the Big Sky title game in 2010. William now has 648 points this season, the third most in school history. He is up to 1,270 for his career, the 17th most by a Grizz, despite missing the second half of his first season at Montana. The Grizz advanced to the semifinals of the Big Sky tournament for the 9th time in 11 Big Sky tournaments under 12th-year head coach Travis DeCure. Montana takes on top-seeded Portland State at 7 p.m. tonight. The Grizz swept the Vikings during the regular season, including posting a 74-68 win over PSU in Missoula a little over a week ago in the home finale for Montana.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, coming to you from Idaho Central Arena through the Grizzly Disposal Studio at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal always giving back to the community. They have their Chicks and Chaps pink receptacles, as well as their Grizzly Scholarship Association maroon carts that give back to the organizations every quarter. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, always reliable, and the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Want to make the switch today, 406-541-7171. You missed something in the first hour of the show, you can always find it on the podcast. We've been giving you all the handicapping of the state tournaments that are coming down the pipe. Who's the favorites? Who's the contenders for AA, A, and B? We will do C tomorrow because that one starts in Missoula, Montana tomorrow afternoon. We also talk some Grizz hoops as they get a 40-burger from Money Williams to move on into the semifinals of this tournament. Their game tips in a little bit less than 2 hours. We also give you as much real time as we could from Montana State's thrilling 79-77 win over Eastern Washington in overtime. The MSU women into the championship game as well. And whatever else we could get to, we did. Find it all on the podcast, available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. I thought I was going to have to run down the press conference, and I will. But Eastern Washington going first. I can still see Taylor Chirick sitting courtside with us here. Sitting with the Big Sky courtside folks, I should say, doing her interview with those Big Sky courtside people from Scripps. So as soon as I see her on the move, and then Tricia Binford on their way up, we'll run downstairs. But Montana State, they pull one out. I don't know. They blew what amounted to be what grew to as large as a 19-point lead. They had to go to overtime, but they get it done. They're into the championship game yet again. Taylor Chirick, KO with big plays across the board. She did not shoot the ball tremendously well, but she had a couple offensive rebounds that really swung the game. She played 44 out of 45 minutes, and she had 26 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, packed the stat sheet, hit a couple key free throws down the stretch, and the Big Sky MVP helps her team get into the championship game. Brianne Bailey, probably the hero. She had the game-tying 3 in the waning seconds, which certainly proved to be huge as well. Addison Harris, 17 points for the Bobcats, also 7 rebounds, and they get the rubber match with Idaho. More on that in just a little while. Let's dive into a Treasure State Stars. It's probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. There are no undefeated teams left in boys basketball on the boys' side except for the Lodge Grass Indians. They are the last team without a loss because Scobie, who I thought had a real chance to run the table in Class C boys basketball, they went down in the district championship game to Luster Christian. Scobie had beaten Luster Christian twice this year, but Luster gets them back 55-50. So a great job. Cam Redding led the way for the Lions with 24 points. And Luster Christian, the 7th-ranked team in the polls this last week, they get a 55-50 win over top-ranked Scobie. Treasure State star number 2, Taylor Chirick. She was the star here this afternoon for Montana State, but she was the star all season. The Big Sky Conference MVP, the defensive MVP in the league as well, and she is the 5th player to ever win 2 defensive MVPs. She's only a sophomore, though. She has a chance to be the only 3-time defensive player of the year in the league. We'll see how many MVPs she can stack. I know part of her story is can she and will she stay at Montana State. I think the fact that she's from Billings and went to high school in Class C town in Roberts, Montana, I think that gives her a better chance than many to stay. Treasure State star number 3, Money Williams. The proverbial saying, don't poke the bear. Well, Northern Colorado did. They tweeted about him last Monday, basically talking smack, and the Money came back and got after him last night, 40 points, and he leads Montana into the semifinals for the 9th time in the last 11 tournaments under head coach Travis DeCuire. Treasure State star number 5, how about Braxton Turney? Helped lead the Dillon boys to a 59-45 win over Ronan in the Class A, the Western A Divisional Championship. He had 15 points for the Beavers. Treasure State star number 6, Hank Smith. We've talked about him a lot on this show. He is a junior at Frenchtown High School. He went nuts, 37 points at Frenchtown. Bulldozes Butte Central, 72-41, and they're into the state tournament. Treasure State star number 7, just the Harlem boys. I didn't get any individual stats on this, but they upset Fairfield in their divisional championship. Harlem takes a head of steam now into state. They win 80-75 over Fairfield. Treasure State star number 8, Dawson Hammond. He's a future Grizz football player. He had 25 points for Malta in their 3rd-place win over Rocky Boy, 78-60. Hammond had 31 points the night before to set up that 3rd-place game. Treasure State star number 9, the Anaconda boys. They got a totally balanced effort, but they won their divisional championship 50-47, so they also take a head of steam into the Class B state tournament. And then finally, Treasure State star number 10, Shannon Martin. She netted 13 points for Dillon's girls as they beat Frenchtown 50-35 for the Western A championship. Treasure State Stars presented by Parkside Credit Union, the best place to get a loan in Western Montana. because Parkside Credit Union loves to say yes. Lady Grizz season ended in disappointing fashion, and it was a disappointing season overall, but now they get to turn the page. New chapter for Nate Harris. Hopefully the dysfunction of the last couple of years is in the rear view. Here's just a couple of minutes from his press conference. Then we'll take a break. We'll come back, and Jeff Safford will get you set up to hear a little bit from Travis DeCure and Money Williams. And then hopefully after that, I'll be back. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. You're listening 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Same statement as yesterday. Yesterday ended with a win. Today didn't. But just super proud of the kids that we had available, how they showed up, answered the bell, and just kept going out, playing their tails off, playing their hearts out. That's all we can do at that point. Obviously, hats off to Montana State. I thought they shot it incredibly well. I thought they did some things that we wanted them to do, wanted to force them to do. They answered the bell there too and made some threes. But I thought that every kid we put out there left what they had out there to try and fight their way through it, which I think is an important step for us as a program and an important step in terms of competing with them, because I think that's one of Montana State's strengths is they really scrap, they really compete. And I thought that the kids we had out there today that got the opportunity and they seized it, and I thought they really competed in spite of some missed shots and some other, like all the things that go into the game of basketball. I thought our crew played really hard.
Coach, can you just speak on a little bit more about the struggles that you've had this week and maybe also some of the struggles that you've had this season?
Well, I mean, obviously, in terms of this week, I would say this, anytime your starting point guard is at the hotel in bed and your all-conference player doesn't play the first game and then tries. She tried like crazy. She didn't warm up, hoping that it would give her a better chance to play, but she got about 5 minutes in and looked over and said, I can't do it. I mean, so I think that was a little bit. I think if you're asking season long, that's probably a big question. I would probably lean towards consistency. I think that this week showed I just don't think we were the best version of ourselves as consistently as we needed to be to finish with a higher seed and not have to play that team until a Tuesday or Wednesday. But yeah, that's where I think that's the biggest area, just on the day-to-day. If we were more consistently, whether it's from game to game or even within a game, if we were just a little more consistently the best version of ourselves, I think we're a team that can compete with anyone, especially when we play as hard as we did today.
How frustrating is it that you did come down with this illness and it kind of circulated a little bit through the team, and how much do you wish you would have been 100%?
I mean, I think that's an easy answer. Like, you always wish you're 100%. This time of year, you're rarely 100%, but life happens. And not to minimize what we're doing here, but if this is the worst thing that happens to our crew this year, they've had a pretty good year. There's real life outside these four walls. Now, is it disappointing? And this crew, if they play this hard, want to come in here and compete and stay here? Absolutely. But life had a different plan for us, and I think what it showed, and for a lot of they went out and competed in a way that with bigger opportunities or more opportunities than maybe they had. I thought people really played hard and seized the opportunity they had. Now, obviously, it's frustrating. It's whatever word you want to use to describe having everyone get sick, including staff members and players, and but that's life, and that's a great example for our kids. Life's going to happen. You have to answer the bell anyways.
At this point last year, you didn't even know if you were going to be back as the full-time head coach. So going through it, the first full season, what did you learn this year that might inform you going forward and then into the off season?
It's one of the beauties of coaching. You never really know if you're going to be back. But no, I'm thankful to be where I am, and I think I learned that you have to figure out what your strengths are and lean into them. And I think that at different times throughout the year, I had struggles. I need to be more consistent. There's things I have to be better at. But I think that moving forward, we have to find a way to lean into the strengths that I'm most comfortable with and go from there. And I thought this crew did that. I'm really proud of how passionate, how intense, and how tough they were through our 2 games here in Boise.
The Press Box is the place to watch all your favorite sports. In the heart of Grizz Country, Press Box has great food and drinks with happy hour and lunch specials every weekday. Don't forget, Press Box has the best happy hour deal in town, Monday through Friday, between 4 and 6, $3 draft beers. That's right, any draft beer at the Press Box, from domestic light beers to IPAs to everything in between. $3 drafts between 4 and 6, Monday through Friday at the Press Box. Press Box also has 2 sports bet machines, so you can always get your bets in before the game starts. The Press Box on Broadway and Van Buren in Missoula.
The wait is over. Grizzly Disposal is now offering no-sort recycling. No more sorting and dragging it across town. They'll get it right from your house. Cans, cardboard, and plastic all in one bin. Handled by Grizzly Disposal. Visit grizzlydisposal.com to add on recycling to your plan or to switch over to Grizzly Disposal today. Give them a call, 541-7171. That's 541-7171. The best trash removal service in town just got better. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage.
Are you a sports fan who loves to win? Get in on the action with Sportsbet Montana. Bet on collegiate and professional baseball, football, hockey, basketball, and more, all while keeping the money right here in Montana. It's easy and secure on our kiosks and mobile app. Head to your favorite Sportsbet Montana retail location to catch the game, place your bets, and celebrate your wins. Sportsbet Montana. Learn more at sportsbetmontana.com.
Colter Nuanez from ESPN Montana here, and I can't tell you how much high-speed fiber internet from Blackfoot Communications has improved my life. It might sound simple, but having lightning-fast upload speeds lets me record video calls in 4K to use on our Nuanez Now radio and television show. It also allows us to produce content with world-class efficiency, and I can work from home even if my wife is streaming her HD TV. If you want to experience the fastest internet speeds possible, you need fiber internet from Blackfoot. Find out more about fiber in your area by visiting blackfoot.com.
Vertical Raise is the top fundraising platform, no matter what sort of organization you need to raise money for. Vertical Raise is an industry leader with elite technology that can help you reach the most vast audience possible, in turn, delivering a bigger check for you and your organization. In 2023, Vertical Raise Montana helped raise more than $1.5 million for high school sports organizations around the Treasure State, and the returns were more than 30% greater than any other fundraising program. To find out more about how Vertical Raise can deliver your organization the biggest check possible, visit verticalraise.com.
You already know Tagliari Delicatessen has the best sandwiches in all of Montana. Heck, even People Magazine and the Food Network say so. But Tagliari Deli has more than just the most delicious sandwiches this side of the Mississippi. Stop into the shop on the corner of Beckwith and Higgins to check out all they have to offer. Tagliari takes pride in offering the best selection of imported Old World wines that are sure to please a variety of palates. Pair the wine with a sandwich, a cheese and meat plate, or both. Stop in to Tagliari Deli today.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Money cashed in on Monday night in Boise. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. A week ago, Northern Colorado dismantled Montana, winning 85-57 to set up a rematch in the second round of the Big Sky Conference men's basketball tournament. Following the game, the Bears' social media account tweeted, "No money in the bank," referring to the fact that UNC plays its home games at Bank of America Arena. As they say, don't poke the bear. Money Williams, Montana's unanimous first-team All-Big Sky combo guard, hit his first three-pointer of the game and went to the stratosphere from there. He relentlessly attacked the basket, scoring at will to lead the University of Montana to a 95-89 win over UNC. Williams finished with 40 points, the fourth most in the history of the Big Sky tournament, and the second most in a tournament game ever by a Grizz. The single-game postseason record still belongs to Anthony Johnson, who poured in 42 points and an SB-winning performance to defeat Weber State in the Big Sky title game in 2010. William now has 648 points this season, the third most in school history. He is up to 1,270 for his career, the 17th most by a Grizz, despite missing the second half of his first season at Montana. The Grizz advanced to the semifinals of the Big Sky tournament for the 9th time in 11 Big Sky tournaments under 12th-year head coach Travis DeCure. Montana takes on top-seeded Portland State at 7 p.m. tonight. The Grizz swept the Vikings during the regular season, including posting a 74-68 win over PSU in Missoula a little over a week ago in the home finale for Montana.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Here in this 5 o'clock hour of a Tuesday edition of Nuanez Now, ESPN Missoula, SWX Montana, our ESPN YouTube page, ESPN MT. I'm Jeff Safford here in studio at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Colter Nuanez will be back momentarily from Boise, Idaho at Idaho Central Arena. What a wild game we've been talking about in the women's bracket in the Big Sky Conference Tournament. The Montana State Bobcats, in overtime, sneak by Eastern Washington. A game-tying bucket to send it to double overtime from the left block for the Eagles goes begging, and Montana State sneaks by 79-77. They will face off tomorrow with the University of Idaho at 3 o'clock. A chance to go dancing for both of those teams. The Vandals and the Bobcats, 3 o'clock tomorrow from over in Boise. Want to thank Blackfoot Communications in this 5 o'clock hour. Blackfoot Communications has been helping Montanans make strong connections for over 70 years. With its headquarters in Missoula, Blackfoot has been providing steady, high-quality jobs to Western Montanans for decades. As your carrying neighbor, Blackfoot shows their support by giving back to local organizers, causes, and schools in ways that truly matter. Blackfoot's mission is to connect people, businesses, and communities. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications. To find out more about Blackfoot, you can always improve your connection to your community by visiting blackfoot.com. Got the men's side of the bracket coming this evening. The Montana Grizzlies will face off with Portland State, the number 4 versus the number 1 seed. But as Hayden Smith alluded to in our Sports Center, the Grizz had the advantage over the Vikings in both of the regular season games that they had this year. And Money Williams was surely cash in the game that he had last night. 40 points. Wow, what a performance. And then later, 9:30 tip on ESPN2, it will be the Idaho Vandals on the men's side against Eastern Washington, so I guess you could call that one a bit of a battle of the Palouse. Number 7 versus the number 3 seed. Those 4 squads trying to get to the Big Sky Tournament Championship tomorrow in Boise. To further get you ready for the first matchup featuring the Vikings and Grizzlies, Colter Nuanez was able to visit with head coach of the Grizz, Travis DeCure. So let's get ready for Montana and Portland State and maybe have Colter Nuanez back from Boise after this.
Compete with pride is what we put on the board. It's a very inexperienced team. With big expectations, it's been very hard for this group to be consistent in terms of details, execution, things like that. When you start 2 freshmen, it's hard to have big expectations and aspirations, and sometimes you got to grow through the adversity, which this team has done. And tonight, these guys came together. They played hard. To hold this team under 40% in the first half is huge, and it set the tone. And I think our defense led the way.
Money, when were you able to sense today you're going to have as big a game as you did, scoring 40 points?
Since I woke up. I knew I've been here before last year. We won the whole thing last year, and just like Travis said, having young guys, I just want them to experience to the fullest. I just want to play for them, just play my heart out for the coaches guys as well.
After you guys lost last week, Northern Colorado had a social media post that mentioned you. Were you aware of that, and were you taking this game personally at all today?
I was aware of it. It's not the first time. A lot of teams tweet things when we lose or if I don't have a good game. But, it's the media. That's what the media does. And we're the ones playing, and I'm playing. I know what I'm capable of. So I just go out there and compete. It doesn't really bother me at all.
Travis, can you just talk about your team's ability to break the press at the end? And, I'm remembering the long, you get trapped in the corner there with it being a 2-point game, then you get the long throw and the dunk there at the end. How big of a play was that?
Huge. It takes a level of toughness to be trapped in the corner and the 2 closest guys to you are being denied, right? There's a level of patience and toughness to fight off the double team and continue to fight to find an open defender. And then the guys did a good job working to get open for one another. But it just shows signs of wanting to win when you make yourself available at tough times. And King found open spots twice when we were kind of in a hard spot. But our guys were tenacious today down the stretch when we did.
And then for Money, just your ability to get to the foul line, particularly tonight, 19 free throw attempts. Can you talk about that aspect of your performance tonight?
We played them recently, and they threw a lot of face guarding. I knew they were going to be ultra aggressive, so just matching that intensity, I knew I was going to be able to get angles and get to the foul line.
Tejan, Coach Shakir just mentioned the word toughness. That's a team that you battled with a lot over the years. It was another physical game tonight. What's it like playing in a game like that, going against those guys in a physical game in a big stage like this?
It's great, like Coach said, we got a lot of younger guys, so with us being here already, playing against them previous years and, beating them, we just wanted to show them the level of expectation it is. So, everybody can ride along. So all it is, our game plan is just, be tougher. And I thought, we set the tone, early, so guys was able to just ride the ship.
Tejan, for you, you've been here quite a few times with the Grizz, but, this time it's going to be your last ride. So how do you approach every day, every game, knowing it could be it?
Just taking one game at a time, the game plan is going to be different each game, just coming with, just being together, it helps a long run, last year, I feel like we stuck together through it all, we had close games as well, like every game not going to be perfect, but, a win is a win in our book, but just staying together, and I think it will be great.
Travis, just 1 week ago, this team almost beat you by 30, so walking away from that game, what was that like, and what was the rest of this week like for you to prepare?
We were confident going into this game. We outperformed them in 3 of the 4 halves that we had played up to that point, right? And we had held them under 40% for 4 of those halves, and so we knew we were capable. I pulled the plug a little early in that game. We weren't mentally prepared to compete in that game, and so wanted to give some guys a chance to go out and compete and see what they had before going to the conference tournament. So, the points said it was a huge blowout, but like I said, I put the plug pretty early on that one. So we gave these guys a ton of confidence this week, and we knew it was a game we could win.
And then Travis, do you have a thought on just Portland State, the next matchup, kind of how things went this year?
Good team, tough team, physical, dominate the paint, and if you can minimize their paint points and slow down, the post a little bit in terms of their high percentage shots, you give yourself a chance. And we've been fortunate to do that twice, but it's hard to do it 3 times. And they're a relentless basketball team, so we got to be good offensively. They're one of the better defensive teams in the conference too, and so they're going to challenge our offensive efficiency. So if we can continue to play as well as we did tonight offensively and minimize their paint points, we'll have a chance.
All right, well, and then on that note,
thank you.
Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. This is, no question, the greatest production and teamwork we've ever done on this show, because the whole thing completely went off the rails because Montana State went to overtime. So appreciate Jeff Safford, Hayden Smith for being on their toes. We're going to continue the great production that we've got going on here right now, because we're going to take one more break. We're going to come back. I wanted to get the Montana State women's press conference sound into this show, because by the time they play tomorrow, the game will already be going, so that this sound will basically be dead because the game will have already happened. This sound is about what just happened with the Eastern Washington win, but also a preview of the game against Idaho. So on the other side, we'll hear from Trisha Binford, Taylor Chirick, and Addison Harris from the MST women's basketball team, as well as Jace Coburn, Portland State, to help us preview the semifinal between the Vikings and the Grizzlies coming up here at 7 p.m. Tournament takeover live from Idaho Central Arena. Thanks to our great friends at Bob Ward Sports and Outdoors. Bob Ward Sports and Outdoors, they have all their spring stuff coming out. Spring sports right around the corner. If you got an athlete in the house, you know it's go time. Before that whistle blows, make one stop, Bob Ward's. They got all the new releases hitting the floor right now. Fresh gloves, bats, cleats, soccer balls, training gear, everything your athlete needs to start the season strong. And the best part, you can see it in one place instead of running all around all over town. Huge savings, top name brands, all under one roof. Shop Bob Ward's, Montana's oldest sporting good retailer, and get geared up for the season in the right way. Bobcat women, Portland State men. A preview of the Grizz in the semifinal. All next. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Spartan's Tuning and Missoula's most trusted truck and auto repair shop, servicing foreign and domestic makes and models. But that's not all. Spartan's Tuning is equipped with cutting-edge ADAS calibration technology, making sure your car's advanced driver assist systems like lane assist and automatic braking are in top shape. And with AAA approval, Spartan Tuning is Missoula's most go-to shop for quality, reliable service you can trust. Visit SpartansTuning.com for more info or call 406-728-4081.
Black Mountain Lawn and Landscaping offers comprehensive yard care services including lawn mowing, planting, irrigation, landscaping, waterfalls, and hardscaping with a focus on paver patios. Black Mountain Lawn and Landscaping offers customized lawn care programs to revitalize and rejuvenate your lawn to get your landscape beds and gardens ready for the season. Free estimates on sprinkler systems and lawn mowing and yard care services. Visit blackmountainlandscaping.com, call 406-529-0793, or email dave@blackmountainlawns.com.
Calling all runners, joggers, and walkers. Start your race season off with the 54th annual YMCA Riverbank Run on Saturday, April 25th. Wind your way through downtown Missoula and the beautiful UM campus with the 1 mile, 5K, 10K, or trifecta. There's a race for everyone, and you support the Missoula Y. The Riverbank Run is sponsored by Providence and benefits the Missoula YMCA. The YMCA Riverbank Run, Saturday, April 25th. Sign up today at riverbankrun.org.
If you're in search of a trading card of your favorite player, or if your kids are, swing into Zootown Sports Cards. If there's a card of a player you're searching for, Zootown Sports Cards has the cards. With an almost endless collection of singles and inserts, whatever and whoever you're in the market for, Zootown Sports Cards has it. 1990s NBA stars, Zootown has it. 2000s football players, Zootown has it. And looking through the collection is half of the fun. Come check out all of what Zootown Sports Cards has to offer in the Stevens Center in Missoula.
Cold weather cravings? The Montana Club has got you covered with scratch-made comfort food to match every craving. From perfectly grilled steaks to satisfying salads, they're ready to handle your hunger. So grab a table with a reservation or keep it casual and order delivery straight to your door. Great food made easy. Visit MontanaClub.com to order or reserve and come warm up at your Montana Club. Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Think you're not scholarship material? Think again. Farmer State Bank's $10,000 scholarships were created for hardworking students just like you. Yes, you. Imagine what $10,000 for trade school, technical school, or a four-year college could mean for you and your family. See your high school counselor or visit farmersebank.com, but do it today. Applications are being accepted right now. Farmer State Bank, your Montana bank since 1907, member FDIC.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Well, the madness upon us, certainly, after an overtime win to book another ticket in the Big Sky Tournament title game. Welcome back to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app coming to you live from Idaho Central Arena, but through the Grizzly Disposal studio. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. 2 games in the books today. The Idaho-Sac State women's game went about according to script. Idaho won in a slugfest. They outlasted the Hornets 59-51. That's 17 straight wins for the Vandals. They're into the championship game of the Big Sky Tournament, and they play Montana State. It's the matchup everybody's been looking forward to with the Bobcats as the 2 seed. These two teams split in the regular season, but Montana State needed a heroic, some would even say miraculous effort at the end of this regulation against Eastern Washington. Breanne Bailey with a heave with less than 10 seconds to play. Nothing but net. That tied the game. It forces overtime, and then Montana State able to outlast the the Eagles down the stretch. We're going to hear from Tricia Binford, Taylor Chirick, and Addison Harris here in just a little while, but our attention turns now to the game that tips here at Idaho Central in about 90 minutes. A third matchup between Montana and Portland State. I think if you only watched the Grizz against Portland State this year, you'd think that the Grizz were the favorites to win this tournament. I think you'd think that the Grizz were the number 1 seed and Portland State was the number 4 seed. But that's the inverse. The inverse is Portland State's the top seed, Montana the 4 seed. But as we've said all year long, Montana has the highest ceiling in the conference, but they have way too low of a floor for the talent level, especially the top-end talent level that they have on the team. But Montana has risen to the occasion in big moments. Certainly, they got swept in the rivalry against Montana State, which that was probably frustrating if you're Travis DeCuire and his staff. But the fact that they were able to beat Northern Colorado 2 out of 3 times, including in the first game of this tournament, and the fact that they were able to sweep Portland State, they're probably their 2 best defensive efforts during conference play. And the fact they got a dude that can go out and carry you if he puts the team on his back in Money Williams, all those things bode towards Montana maybe having a shot to win this whole thing. That's going to start tonight, though, against the Vikings. Portland State was expected to be very good. I actually was surprised Portland State was not picked to win the conference in the preseason. The Vikings returned the most familiar core in the league. They returned Trayvon Minot, who is the defending Big Sky Conference Defensive Player of the Year. He again won that award. He's a 6'10" rim runner. He can really protect the rim and dominate the paint, but he can also switch on the ball screen too, which really diversifies Portland State's defensive efforts. They also returned Terry Miller Jr., who was one of the best ISO scorers in the league, a guy with a true old school game that can back you down and square you up from basically anywhere on the court. He ended up being the Big Sky Conference MVP during his senior year. And Portland State also returned Jalen Henderson, one of the most athletic guards in the conference. The question was, who's going to play point guard? Because Q Myers, he graduated last year. Well, they switched Henderson from off-ball to on-ball. Then they brought in Keon Kesey, who is a 6'8" wing that doesn't look like any of the other wings in the Big Sky Conference. He's a real jumping jack who's a great player, and that foursome helped lead the Vikings. They were not without tumult, though. They got off to an 11-1 start in league. Then they sat at 12-2 with a magic number of 2. But then they lost 3 in a row, and it came all the way down the wire. They needed the last Monday of the regular season to clinch the number 1 seed and the outright Big Sky title, but they got it done despite their 5 league losses. Jace Coburn, the head coach of Portland State, has been there for 5 years. I think he has endured the transition of this new era of transferring, etc. I think he's endured it better than anybody. Why? He's a junior college basketball player himself. He also was a junior college coach. And Portland State sort of had a junior college model in terms of recruiting before any of this craziness began. The irony here, though, is that because Portland State was more used to this, they're actually the team that returned the most coming into this year, which then put a target on their backs. But Portland State was able to get it done. Here is Jace Coburn just on his team's championship pedigree. When I recorded this interview, he did not know they were playing the Grizz, so I did not get a chance to ask him about the Grizz. But here is Jace Coburn. Just about what made Portland State the top seed in the Big Sky this year. Rock and rolling here in Boise. Welcome back to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT Offer Tournament Takeover live from Idaho Central Arena. It's probably presented in part by Bob Ward's. Spring sports just around the corner. We're talking soccer, baseball, softball, and lacrosse. If you have an athlete in the house, you know it's go time. Before that first whistle blows, make one stop. Bob Ward's. They got new releases hitting the floor right now. Fresh gloves, bats, cleats, soccer balls, training gear, everything your athlete needs to start the season strong. And the best part, you have to just stop at one place. You don't have to run all over town. Huge savings, top name brands, all under one roof. Shop Bob Ward's, Montana's oldest sporting goods retailer, and get geared up for the season in the right way. Portland State head coach Jace Coburn, heard from him earlier this week. His team takes on the University of Montana tonight, 7 p.m., where they bid to the Big Sky title game on the line. Coburn's team won on Saturday. That was their first tournament win since 2022. They are the top seed. This tournament's expected to be nip and tuck, and that's displayed in part by the fact that Montana swept Portland State during the regular season, even though the Grizz finished in a tie for fourth place and Portland State finished as the top seed. Here's Coburn's thoughts on what made his team a championship squad entering tonight's semifinal against Montana. This team's ability to sustain, like the ability to sort of be the front runner in first place, but then to be able to finish it and win the outright championship. What did that take?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we led the conference. We were in first place, wire to wire. I mean, I don't think we were ever in second place the whole conference season. So, you know, I mean, it's probably one of the most resilient groups I've ever coached. Like, I mean, we've been pretty resilient within games. We've been pretty resilient after losses. You know, I know we lost 3 games on the stretch, but like everything ended up working out perfectly. Like, you know, that night against Eastern Washington when we lost, if we would have won that game, like we would have had to come back and celebrate. And, you know, winning it at Montana State and celebrating in their locker room didn't sound great. Doing it in Montana and celebrating in their locker room in Missoula, that didn't sound great. And so we couldn't have wrote a better story for us to be able to come home and do it on senior night, you know, in front of our people, in front of our fans that you know, our attendance grew all year long, you know, and I couldn't be more proud to be able to do it in front of our people. That was awesome. Like that, it ended up working out perfectly. And as I told the team, like sometimes it's just meant to be that way. So,
yeah, it's awesome. Well, just the sort of the dynamic of you guys have been fighting to get to this spot. And then, you know, about midway through league play, I think it was pretty clear that you guys were the team to beat.
Mm-hmm.
What's the mental adjustment like when you sort of go from the team that, you know, is trying to get to the top to the team that maybe has a target on their back?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different feeling. It's definitely different. You know, and we hadn't been in this position before at Portland State. You know, so we had to make some adjustments to go along the way, but I think it was a lot of like just trying to stay ahead of everybody else. You know, and just trying to you know, be the best coach I could be and prepare our guys the way that we felt like was best for our players, and you know, make adjustments in games too. You know, so there was a lot of that going on this year, as opposed to maybe other years. It was a little bit different.
We've talked about your defense a lot, but just the fact that you had multiple guys that were veterans within the system, how much did that just help buoy you guys, and how much did just the familiarity with each other help you have such great defensive numbers?
Oh, I mean, it was huge, you know, because, you know, we had 7 guys come back and you know, 2 guys had redshirted, and we were all speaking the same language from day one, you know, and then for the new players to come in and adapt to how we do things and how we play defense, because, you know, we do things a little bit differently. You know, so it was, you know, it was really good. And, you know, we did a good job in recruiting, figuring out the guys that could fit our system defensively, you know, or improve it really. You know, so I felt like we did a really good job when it came to that. And you know, we just have all reached a certain point now where we're all speaking the same language. We can make adjustments on the fly. We can make adjustments game to game. And so that's when you know you have a good defense, is when everybody's on the same page.
It's hard enough to find a bunch of guys that want to guard the ball like you guys do, but then to also pair it with a great rim protector, that's pretty hard to find in the Big Sky Conference. How much do you think having Trayvon in the middle sort of anchors the whole rest of the defense?
Yeah. No, I mean, he does everything. You know, it's funny, like when people always talk about big guys, when people talk about what they want their big guys to do, like he does everything you would want your big guy to do. You know, he rebounds, he protects the paint, guards post defense, great in ball screen coverage. There's a lot of things that he really does for us that allows us to have a really good defense. He's a really good eraser, meaning he makes up for people's mistakes a lot of the time. Great communicator. You know, he does everything defensively that you would want a big guy to do. And he definitely brings that to the table. Great leader, can understand adjustments and things like that from game to game or within a game. And he's very smart, very intelligent, plays with a lot of spirit and passion. So, yeah, he's been really a big part of our good defense over the last couple of years.
Kerry Miller's so fun to watch. He seems like he's just a smooth, confident guy. Is that how he comes across to you? How much is that a key to his success?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when he steps on that basketball court, there's nothing he can't do. You know, and I think the league is you know, I mean, game in and game out. I mean, he's been facing double team, triple teams all year long, and to be able to have the success individually that he's had, despite people double and triple teaming him. I mean, it's been pretty amazing. I mean, because there's nothing on the basketball floor that Terry can't do, and he knows that. And he's been a matchup nightmare for a lot of people. And we kind of just look at the matchups game to game and kind of figure out what his role is going to be on offense going into that game.
What have you thought is the way that Jalen Henderson has evolved? Because, I mean, he's also one of my favorite players in the league to watch, but it seems like he's been very unselfish to get to this point in his career.
Yeah, I mean, last year, he played a little bit of point for us, but he was mostly our two guard. And this year we moved him to a point. And, I think he's done a tremendous job of that. Like, he's been able to find guys and make the right reads, and his assist numbers are way higher than they were last season. And he's still able to score. I mean, he's had several games this year where he almost had a double-double or did have a double-double. And obviously he's probably one of the most athletic guys in college basketball. He makes our engine go. Like, there's no question about that. Like, he's a very good defender and can create things defensively for us and get us out in transition. So couldn't be more proud of him, his evolution as a basketball player, for sure.
Well, we kind of knew that those three were proven players in the Big Sky, but how about Keon? How about the impact he's had? Because he's had some huge games for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, he's had some huge games. I feel like he's an all-conference level player. He's done a lot of really good things for us this season. I mean, he can really score it. He's a great rebounder, great defender. Obviously, there's not many guys walking around the Big Sky, playing on a wing that are 6'8" and that athletic and can score, but he's been tremendous for us. He's been a really good fit from day one for our team. So I can't say enough positive things about him and what he's brought to our program.
Jace Coburn joining us here on Nuanez Now. Portland State head coach. His team takes on Montana with a bid to the Big Sky Conference Tournament Championship game on the line at 7 p.m. tonight, Idaho Central Arena. Tournament takeover presented in part by Stockman Bank. Stockman Bank in Montana, only in Montana, and they plan on keeping it that way. Let Stockman Bank show you Montana's brand of banking. Well, obviously, when you took this job, you wanted to bring it to a conference champion level.
Mm-hmm.
How much does this team fit maybe how you envisioned a conference champion would look for you? I mean, how much does this team sort of molded in your image or maybe not? I mean, how much does it fit how you maybe envisioned how it would be to get to a conference championship level?
Yeah, no, they fit exactly what champions are. Through their work ethic, like the guys are in the gym all the time, getting up extra shots, and through their practice habits, how hard they practice, their coachability. People ask me all the time about like college basketball and, do players want to be coached? And I always answer like ours do. Like I can't speak to other teams, but our players love to be coached. And so, and it's, our culture's great. Like, we got great leadership. And then it carries over to the games. They're good people off the floor. I can't tell you how many emails this year I've gotten from just strangers talking about how respectful and great our team was in an airport or on a plane or in a hotel or in a restaurant. They're great students. We had the highest GPA that Portland State's ever had. And so I think when you add all of that together, it's a formula for championship. And so, I enjoy seeing those guys every single day. I'm really going to miss our seniors, but they've done a really good job of like setting a standard for the culture of Portland State. And, the former players did too. Like, I mean, this has been a thing that's been in the works for a while. We've progressively gotten better every single year, and it's because those particular groups have raised the bar on each other. They compete with each other. And, so winning a championship for this particular team is awesome because we have championship basketball players and championship people. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Jace Coburn here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, live from Idaho Central Arena. Montana State's women into the championship game. Montana's men will try to do the same thing against Portland State. So can we have a championship Wednesday that has at least one team in each from the state of Montana? We shall see. But the Bobcats needed a thriller to get there. By the time this show is on the air tomorrow at 4 p.m., we'll probably be at halftime of the women's championship game. So wanted to get this sound in because it'll be dead by the time tomorrow rolls around. Here's how Montana State was able to gut out a 79-77 overtime win over Eastern Washington and what they think of the matchup, the rubber match against the Idaho Vandals in the championship game tomorrow at 3 p.m.
First thought is Eastern played an incredible game today. That's back-to-back games where their second halves were really, really great. We had our hands full trying to keep them out of the paint and guard them, and want to credit them, and just love the fight in this team and finding a way. And we got some life with an incredible shot, and these two are with me because they had incredible days. So just love coaching this group, and glad we get another day to do it.
Coach, can you walk us through the swings there just in the final 10 seconds of regulation where you're trying to prolong the game, but you need a 3, and then Breanne Bailey hits that incredible shot. You get the ball back, chance to win it, and then you're going to overtime. Just walk us through that stretch.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, half of it's a blur. I remember a timeout with 18.9. I'm like, well, we're used to some of these tight situations similar to last year. I'm like, it's plenty of time. All those timeouts down the stretch was, talking about how many timeouts were, lots of time to do what we needed to do. Jamison had a read to take a quick shot there, which was a great layup for us. We were trying to not foul in a situation. They got to the foul line, but, trying to get the ball in Taylor's hands, obviously, for that situation. And Taylor, Addie hitting some free throws, team finding a way. Bree knew the time was running down, had 10 points today for us off the bench. This goes back to how important and vital our bench is, especially with Jamison fouling out.
For Taylor and Addison, can you take us through each of your own perspectives of what you saw with Breanne's shot and I guess just her execution of the shot, but also her confidence to take it?
Yeah, the thing about Bree is she's a confident player, and I think that's something that you can't really teach necessarily. And so in situations like that, it's important to have a player that's going to take that shot, just be confident in it. And obviously confidence is going to be important when you take that shot. So her making that shot was probably the coolest thing ever. As she shot it, I'm like, please go in, please go in, please go in. And bang, it was in. So yeah, I'm so happy for her.
Absolutely. That girl works so hard. Like, she's always in a gym. I'm so proud of her. She was giving me a hard time about this, but when I was supposed to get a 3 off, that didn't happen. I swung her the ball and yelled, "Shoot it!" And I'm watching this happen in slow motion because I'm like, oh shoot, we're in trouble here. I watched it go up, touch the ceiling. I'm pretty sure I saw God reach down, touch the ball as it touched heaven, and go straight through the hoop. Perfect swish. Never seen anything better. But I'm so proud of her. I'd put her in that situation again. She's a clutch player. She's doing great. She's doing great work for us.
And then a follow-up for you both also. Free throws have not been the strongest point of your team season, but you two combined a 6 of 8 in overtime. Still leave 2 out there, but how fulfilling was it to...
Way to throw that in, Parker. They hit 6. Let's just focus on they hit 6. That was great.
I figured they probably remember it, and you probably remember it. So I was just going to say.
They hit 6 enough. 6 was enough.
The second half of the question was, how fulfilling was it just to have a couple of them go down, have enough of them go down in that overtime period?
Yeah, I was just kind of saying to our team in the locker room, everyone did what it took. I think it was a perfect rounded game where the shots that we needed went in, and Bree's shot, the free throws, just the combination of all the last couple minutes of that game going back and forth. It was just the perfect amount of things we needed to get the win.
Definitely. That's our level of, our willpower, won that game for us. Just the amount of, hard work that we've put in. But, free throws, going to the free throw line. We know that's one of our spots that we got to work on. So before, coming to the tournament, that was a high point for us. We've been incorporating that, inside of practice, outside of practice. So we've got a lot of reps there since the tournament.
Coach in Missoula, you had the nickname for Ella Shoot the Ball Johnson. How do you feel about Breanne Big Shot Bailey here in Boise?
Ooh, I like it.
Do you think that one will stick around for a little bit here?
I think that one will stick around. I love it a lot. And I'll tell you, that's the biggest shot she's ever made so far. So she will not forget that shot. I love it.
Coach, can you just talk about what made Eastern such a tough matchup for you this season?
Yeah, the guard plays very dynamic, and they do a great job getting hips. They have a really exciting freshman, but like I said, Gallatin, she's been incredible all year. And then they have post play that's really good on the glass. So you got two really strong posts. They just have great balance, and they're a physical team. And so for some reason, our matchups are always challenging, and it makes it exciting for the viewers, and it makes it a lot of stress for the coaches. I'm just kidding. They're a tough matchup for us. I think that combination.
Trish, when you do sort of force overtime in such an exciting fashion, how do you get your team to reset? And they both mentioned just the willpower and the fight you guys have. Can you just talk about that part too, and just how this team's been able to sort of will themselves into this championship game?
Yeah, there were some similarities to our first game at home in Bozeman when we played them as well, and they actually had most of the lead for us working back in that game and getting it into overtime. I know Taylor hit some big time threes, and Jamison had kind of a buzzer one. So there were some similarities to that. What was your question again? I'm totally off, Coulter.
Just how to reset.
Yeah, I'm like, you'd like to say momentum's going with you when you hit that kind of a shot, and we knew that prior to that, it's you're trying to settle your kids, right? Because it's one of those things you can see that there's a feeling of getting tight and tense of, this could be our last game in Boise, and you got to go play to win it and not be afraid to lose it. And I think that reset, they finished it and played to win it.
Coach, now you're going into a matchup that I think a lot of people have been anticipating, 1 against 2. You split the matchups in the regular season. I think, Coach Moreira had some adjustments for you in the second game. What are your initial thoughts going into now the championship game?
Well, I think it's going to be a really great game for the fans. You got two crowds that draw really well. I think both teams have their bands here and their spirit squads, so I think it's going to be exciting atmosphere for Boise, and we need to do our job and put 4 quarters together.
Coach, the depth of this team has been on display all season long. Just how important is it to have 10 girls in your lineup that can go out on the court, especially going against an Idaho team that plays 9 to 10 players themselves?
Well, they're vital to our success. We don't sit here right now without them, and we know every kid, whether they're suited up or they're counting their rocker shooting or taking stats for us right now with kids sitting with injuries. Every kid on this team is making an impact, making a difference, and makes us better. So we absolutely have to have them.
Taylor, one of the best performances you guys had as a team was the game against Idaho in Bozeman. So how do you sort of rechannel that, and what do you think of just the matchup against the Vandals in the championship?
Yeah, like Coach Ben mentioned, feels like home because we have a great home crowd, and so to just go off of that energy, I think is going to be important for us. I'm super excited because it's different playing there, and I think just putting our 4 quarters together and being disruptive, and I'm excited to have a big crowd to play in front of.
Any last questions? All right, I think we can end it there.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Nuanez Now watching on ESPN Radio. Tricia Binford, Addison Harris, Taylor Churick following Montana State's thrilling overtime win. Bobcats in the championship game looking for a repeat trip to the NCAA tournament, looking for their 4th trip to the big dance under Tricia Binford in her 21 seasons at the helm. Grizz players on the court now warming up. We are a little bit more than an hour away from tip from that one. And then the late night, we haven't even touched on that game, really. Eastern Washington and Idaho. I don't know if anybody had that as one of the 2 semifinals. Well, maybe you did, because the Big Sky was so unlikely this year. Certainly the upset of the tournament on the men's side so far has been Idaho getting Montana State on Sunday. But you also had to know that if the Bobcats were so shorthanded, so maybe that's not that much of an upset. Eastern had such a slow start this year, 2-13 in the non-conference, but they really surged down the stretch, and they were able to finish alone in 3rd place. So they're one of the hotter teams in the conference. So that's not that surprising that they are there as the 3 seed. But the winner of Portland State and Montana, the winner of Eastern Washington and Idaho, will play for the Big Sky Championship game tomorrow night. Thanks to the awesome production from our team back in Missoula. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Nuanez Now, 129 ESPN Radio.